Hey guys, it's Frankie Simply Imaginary People, and this is part 2 of just beginning in core. So in this part we're going to look at texturing the world. So we left off the last part with a nice mesh in here, and now we're going to try and texture this. So you'll need this tutorial by Hydrangea Chainsaw, and I'm pretty much just going to turn this into a video. So you'll need to download this. Obviously it has a link to World Machine, which you should already have, and the extended overlay macro, which you're going to need. Mine is here in Documents, My Documents, World Machine Documents, and Macros. Just stick it in there. And then we're just going to download this. You're going to need to download the texture file from her. So I'll link this. Right, so once that's downloaded, we're just going to say Open, Downloads, and just open this texture file, and you'll see this. So what you're going to need to do is, again, here in World Extension Resolution, make sure you go to the resolution that your world is at. So mine's a small world, so it's 512 by 512. And then File Input, you're just going to load your height map. So the one that we edited before. And say OK. And again, if I let this build, you can see it here. So what we're going to do now is go to Extended Overlay mode. Overlay view, that's the one. And this will show you what the texture looks like on your world. So we're just going to go to Overlay mode now. Oh God. Okay, it seems to have disappeared again. Bitmap output, glyph texture bitmap, extended overlay. Here we go. Right, so you'll see there's a couple of textures. Now, in the game, we don't actually want that many textures, because if you go over 8 textures, you're going to have issues with snow most of the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of make the same colors. So we're going to have grass. I like having 2 to 3 different types of grass. So let's stay with 2. So let's say grass 1A, we'll make this a light green. So make it just a nice green that you like as a grass color. Grass color B, I quite like that, so let's just add that to custom colors. And set all the other grasses to the same color so that you don't see the difference between them. For sand, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to set all the sands to the same color because I'm only going to want one sand color. Because otherwise, we're not going to see the sand in the water. And with cliffs, I usually like 2 cliff colors. So let's use this light gray as one of them. So make the first 2 cliff colors the same color and make cliff 2 and 3 the same color. So let's just say add to custom colors again and pick them all. Right. As you can see, I have a massive issue because I can't get to the OK button at the bottom, so I always have to press Tab and unhide this stupid taskbar. Really annoying. Press Tab and then press Enter. Right now, if we go to Overlay View, we can see again, we can let it build by pressing green. And we can see what it now looks like with our grass. Now we get to fiddle. So we can go to Extended Overlay again, and we can say stuff like Max Cliff Slope. And we can see if we pull it all the way down, we have massive cliffs, and if we pull it in this direction, the grass kind of spreads a bit more on our cliffs. So I want a bit more grassy cliffs. Max Beach Height is how far the sand comes up. So I don't want that much sand, so that's quite nice. Sun hitting is where the shadows are at. So you'll see it kind of turns the shadows. Again, you'll have to fiddle, and when you're always done, you can always press, I have to press Tab, but press the Enter button at the bottom here that I can't see. Go to overlay view mode and you can again let it build new textures and see just now that it's got a bit more grassy. I want more grass, less beach, so again go here and say max beach height. I'm going to take this down. I want grass. Oops. And then you can say cliff 2 slope, so that's how much the grey is going to affect you, the darker grey, and grass 2 height, which is how high the second grass is going to come. So again, just fiddle until you're happy. Sometimes takes a bit of time. And then you can go to overlay view. So this is quite nice. I have a little bit more grass. Wait, my roommate wants something. Yeah? Didn't cut in tutorial. What do you want? Okay. So once you've kind of get to the point where you're happy enough about it, what we can do is we can then go, oops, not that one, back to nodes. And you'll see here snow depth text macro. So we don't have any snow on this, but you can also export snow. I don't want snow on mine. But just to show you what you're going to do now is you're going to export. So here again, you can still fiddle a bit with the settings. So I fiddle quite a lot with these, but then you've got to check what you're doing in course. So what we're going to do first, we're just going to export it as it is. So if you remember from our extended overlay mode, we have grass 1A and then grass B 2A and 2B is 1. And oops. And we have 2 cliffs. Cliff 1A and B are one color and cliff 2 and 3 are one color. So for cliffs, what we're going to do is we're going to have all of them white, which means we're exporting them. And we're going to go to bitmap output, specify output file, and call this cliffs light, because it's the lights cliffs. And then we're going to say disk. Then we're going to turn cliff 1A and cliff 1B black, because now we just want to export the second cliff color. Again, press enter at the bottom, which I can't see. And we're going to specify this to cliffs dark. It's going to say it needs to be built, so just press yes and let it do it. Right, now I'm going to do the same for the grass. So grass, all the grasses are white, that's good. So we'll export this to grass light. Specify that. Grass light. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to make grass 1A because all the rest are the same color. Back, enter, and output this to grass dark. Oops, I could actually write it. And then we're going to do the same for the sand. All the sands are white, good, because we only have one color. And write that. Actually saved it in the right place. Right, now that we've done all that, we actually need some textures. So you can download a ton of core textures from wherever you want. There's lots of them online if you search for them. But what also works is if you have a world that you download it. So let's just go to my documents. I don't think I have any installed, but if you have an installed world, you've got these .world files. So what I can do is, let's say Ziva Bonde, I can say right click and open with, and open it with Sims 3 package editor. And now if I go through these images, at some point, that's distant terrain, that's plants, here. You'll see here's a nice rock texture. Let's just sort by name, but sometimes it makes it easier. Dirt. So here we can say export. Save DDS. Let's just save it in here. So dirt. Dirt 2, dirt 3, dirt ranch. Grass medium, so I can say save DDS and say grass 1, can't spell grass, but you know. Save TDS grass 2, so I can just export anything that people use from worlds. Obviously, make sure you have their permission to use their stuff. Here we go, save TDS rock 1, save TDS rock 2. Some darkened grass, save TDS grass 3. So now I kind of just have some stuff. Get some sand as well, because we need sand. I've just got everything I need. Right, now I'm going to go back to here, and we're going to say, just going to delete all of these. So the first one, I'm just going to edit, and I'm just going to call this, I usually start with sand, and change it to sand. There we go. And then we're just going to take that picture of sand that we had. And then we're going to say, right click it, import, and we're going to import our sand profile. You'll see the rest of it goes yellow, that's fine. Now we can add a new layer and call it grass light. Texture, again, we can just use the light grass we exported. Call it grass or lawn. And then say import and import grass light. Getting a bit better. Now we're going to say grass dark. Grass, darker grass, also lawn or long grass or whatever. New layer, import grass dark. Here we go. And then we're going to say rocks light. And take this as my light rocks. Where did I save those? Oh, cliffs, right? That also works. And then I'm going to add a layer and say cliffs dark. Now see, sometimes the order makes a big difference. How you do it. Can't really see much of that. Ignore this glitch. So obviously the rocks seem to have covered up pretty much all of my grass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to rocks light. I'm going to take some of my own textures because I don't like these textures. So cliffs light. I obviously edit these textures a lot in Photoshop to be how I want them to be. So let's say this is going to be cliffs light. And I'm going to edit this to be cliffs dark. Let's make them gray. Actually, let's make them dark. So we'll do rocks, import, cliffs dark, edit, grass light. You have to fiddle around which order works best for you. It's sometimes just a bit of playing. Have some light grass. Import. Grass light. It's dark. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted. Right, it still doesn't really look like what it did in World Machine in the overlay view. So it's not really giving me what I wanted. So maybe it's just because some parts. So just going to go to grass texture. And you can see that the grass is pretty much overwriting our rocks. So I can also just open the grass texture here. Let's just open cliffs light and grass light. So white is the areas where it's going to be, and you can see that the cliffs do spread out quite a bit. So what I can do in World Machine as well is I can go here to, well, actually it's better to show it here, grass texture or cliff texture, and I can say I need to enable both of my cliffs first of all again. And it's pretty white, so I can say max cliff slope, and I can just pull this down a bit more. And fiddle with like that to figure it out. Actually, probably would have been better to be the other way around. I'm just going to import the other way around. I remember which order I did mine in, to be quite frank. So let's do it this way around. Let's make this grass again. Sorry. As I said, it's a lot of fiddling. Import cliff light. I'm not going to go changing all the settings at the moment. Okay, now it actually looks like it's supposed to look. I don't know what I was doing beforehand. So if I just edit this and make this world light grass, edit world dark grass, edit world light cliffs. As I said, sometimes it just plays crazy. Dark cliffs. See, now it looks a lot more like World Machine, depending on how well we do the textures. You can see pretty much looks like what it does. So of course if I say, oh yeah, no, I don't like how much dark grass there is compared to light grass, then what I can do is I can just go to grass texture and just say like grass 2 height, make it go down a bit maybe, and then just re-export those textures again. So I can fiddle with these to the point where I like it. What I can also do is I can also say open, and I can say grass dark, and I can say Control M to go to layers. I'm just going to go down, and you see it goes a bit darker. And then I can save that. If I now go into core again, and I say this, and now import the new grass dark, you'll see I get a bit more of the lighter grass. And I think I want to do the same with the second rocks. So cliffs dark. I want to take them a bit less. And I also want to say filter blur, Gaussian blur, not that much, but just to get a bit smoother edges. and save that. And then import Cliffs Dark. And you'll see it just kind of blurs it out a bit more. And so you can just fiddle with blurring and stuff and just figure out how it works for you. And obviously if you're making distant terrain, you can use these in a different way. So if I just open two textures, let's just open a cliff and a grass. So I'm just going to duplicate my grass layer onto my cliff layer. Obviously you'll have to make this a bit, like tile the texture a bit more, because the entire map with just that texture is a bit too big. But what I can do is I can say grass light. I can take this, Control copy, make sure this is 512 by 512, like your map size is. Obviously I would multiply this grass texture 1,000 times over. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make the grass the background layer, and I'm going to say Cliffs Light, copy this, and for this cliffs I'm now going to add this at the bottom if it'll let me, which is a mask, and I can press Alt and click on the mask and paste this layer over, and now when I go back you can see that it's kind of only made the cliffy bit visible. And if you do this with all your layers, so make a mask of your sand, maybe make the sand the background layer, and make a mask of your grass. So let's just open that, do that, show you. Don't have any sand in here. Sand somewhere here, here you go. Duplicate layer 2, 3. So let's make this one the bottom one, and then for grass, go to grass light. And I'm going to do the light one now. And this will then be obviously the texture you need for your distant terrain, because you need a flat texture for that. So again here, press mask, Alt, click the mask layer, and press paste. And if we go here now, you can see it kind of maps out our texture. So this will all be sand, this is obviously green, and this is the cliffs. So that's a way to make your distant terrain texture. Meshing it and getting into thing, there's tutorials on that. I've never done it, so I can't help you that much with it. But yeah, so that's pretty much a quick way to just texture your world quickly and efficiently. Obviously, if you want to use more grass types, so you can have, I guess, sometimes I like to make grass 2A and 2B a different color, just as another highlight color, or you can have 2 different sand types or more cliffs types. And of course, if you want to go back to nodes, there's also still snow depth and snow if you want to do that. So that's just pretty much quickest way to texture. We'll have to fiddle around with it a bit more, fiddle with all these settings, and just keep exporting them and testing